This is a video of a vignette of a demonstration that was conducted at the Florida NextGen testbed in Daytona Beach, which began on September 17, 2014. It included international partners, aviation industry representatives, academics, and observers conducting demonstrations exhibiting various use cases via the Mini Global Enterprise Messaging Service in the international and national airspace systems. Scenario 1A demonstrates the ability of leveraging the FIXM standard on a transoceanic flight on departure to an air navigation service provider to arrival. This scenario has been divided into 4 parts: departure, the air navigation service provider's handover, the FAA handover, and the arrival. In this scenario, JCAB provides FIXM data for a flight departing Tokyo and destined for Los Angeles. JCAB is a Service Level 4 participant, which means that they can publish FIXM formatted data and manage flight objects. The volcanic ash sigmet published for the previous scenario also impacts this flight. FAA receives all the flight object data provided by JCAB and continues to provide data for the flight after it enters U.S. airspace. To begin the scenario, JCAB submits the flight plan for Asiana 888 Alpha and then enters the route of flight using the trajectory evaluator. Shortly after the submission, the flight plan is received by Tech Center Viewer, Harris Mini Global Viewer, and the Surface Decision Support System, or SDSS. JCAB uses the trajectory evaluator to evaluate the flight route for the flight plan that was just submitted. The trajectory for flight Asiana 888 Alpha is impacted by the same volcanic ash sigmet as the previous scenario. To avoid the volcanic ash, an alternate flight trajectory is generated and evaluated in the trajectory evaluator. This updated trajectory will be distributed to all of the subscribed air navigation service providers once JCAB submits a change message. JCAB submitted the revised flight plan. From the Tech Center Viewer and Harris Mini Global Viewer, we can see that this update has been submitted. Now we move to the final step of the first part of the scenario. JCAB issues a departure message indicating the flight is released. Now we're going to proceed with the next part of this scenario. Handover Asiana 888 Alpha from JCAB to FAA. This handover process uses the Air Traffic Service Interfacility Data Communication, or AIDC, protocol, which involves the sending of several messages including ABI, Advanced Boundary Information, and CPL, or Current Plan. This is the current protocol in use today to facilitate boundary coordination between JCAB and FAA. For this demonstration, these AIDC messages are being transmitted over the Mini Global Enterprise Messaging Service in the FIXM standard. Now the flight from Tokyo is approaching the boundary with FAA Oakland ATOP, or the Advanced Technologies and Oceanic Procedures System. The ATOP system is the FAA Oceanic Control System. You can see Asiana 888 Bravo near the border location. After the Advanced Boundary Information message is issued, a current plan message is issued as the flight approaches the FAA boundary. The color of the aircraft icon change on the ATOP display indicates that the handover is completed. On the Harris Mini Global Viewer and Tech Center Viewer, we can observe the flight of interest. The next major event of the Asiana 888 flight is handover from FAA Oceanic to FAA en route airspace. Here we can see Asiana 888 Golf on the ATOP display, and it is getting close to the Oakland ERAM or En route Automation Modernization System boundary. As the flight gets closer to the boundary, the handover is happening automatically. Now we can see that the flight has entered the ERAM system. The flight turned blue on the ATOP display indicates that ERAM has accepted the flight. Part 3 demonstrated the SWIM Flight Data Publishing Service, or SFDPS, enables ERAM to exchange messages via SWIM, or System-Wide Information Management. The final steps for the Asiana 888 flights is the arrival into Los Angeles Airport, which includes surface movement and the publishing of the arrival message. At the Los Angeles terminal area of SDSS, we can see a few of our Asiana flights. Asiana 888 India is taxiing on the surface with a status of taxi in, and Asiana 888 Juliet is on final approach into Los Angeles International Airport. After the flight's arrival, JCAB receives the arrival message from Asiana 888 Juliet. This scenario illustrated how the FIXM standard can be leveraged on an oceanic flight from departure to an air navigation service provider's handover and finally to arrival.
Working together to help shape the future of aviation.